Welcome to Anchor Photography. I'm doing this demonstration for the Photo 11 class, but the same things apply for the Photo 12 class. As a visitor, this particular account can see the same things that you can as a student. Teachers have access to some additional tools and menu choices, but this is basically how the program works. What's new to Anchor Academy this year is that the class has been broken down by week for the entire 36 weeks that a class is supposed to go. In the left-hand side over here, in this particular block, as they're called, you can see the dates for each one of those weeks. So let's begin with a little bit of a discussion about navigation and how do you get your way around on this particular site. Across the top, we have a regular looking menu bar with choices that most of us are used to: home, dashboard, events, so on. This course is a drop-down menu that will display for you certain things that you can do within the site. Now, some of these things are disabled for some people in the site. For example, people. People allows you to see other students in the class, but for the visitor account, we're not allowing that. So I don't want them spying on you guys. So that's the bar across the top. Up in the very top, where we see the login name, are some other things that are special. The most important one probably is viewing your profile and editing your profile. We'd like you to spend some time this first week working with that to get it all filled in properly. We really would like to know the camera you use, the editing software you're using, and some things about you. You'll also notice this year we're able to create or write blog entries. The blog entries are not for you to muse about just life in general, but they're for you to do things about photography. Perhaps nothing will come to your mind, and if that's the case, then just leave it alone. But anyway, the blog entries are something you may be asked to do later on in the class, to create a blog entry and to share it with the rest of the class. And we'll talk more about that later on. So let's go back to where we came from. Anytime you're working here, you want to get back to where you came from, you can, in your normal browser, you just hit the back button. But in here, there's a thing called breadcrumbs, and you can see them here. The beginning is the top level, and then the next level. And you'll notice as we go through different things in the class, those breadcrumbs will change. We'll talk more about those in a minute too. Up here in the other right-hand corner are two important blocks. The first one on the left-hand side hides the blocks. These are the sections over here on the left-hand side of the menu. And here it allows you to go to full screen. If we do that right now, it'll dump my picture up on the front. You don't want to get rid of me, so we'll just leave it there. But the hide blocks, I do like that one. Hiding the blocks then allows the content to show. This is where you're going to spend most of your time doing stuff. And so this allows you to make it a little bit bigger so you can see those things. As you go through the class, you basically start at the top and you work your way down like you're reading a book. So the introduction is something that we all read. If there's class announcements, which there may be from time to time, you would see them placed right here. So here we have the first week's activity. During the first week, we want you to spend some time reading the course syllabus. We want you to learn about how to insert a photograph into a forum. And then we're going to ask you to go to a forum and practice submitting something. So let's take a click on that while we're here. So the forum allows you to display the order in which the questions are shown. And sometimes it can be confusing. So you have a choice up here as to how it's going to be. Displaying as a flat response is the best one. You can put the newest one first, and that works out fine once you've put in your own response. But for the most part, it's better off to leave it display replies flat with the oldest first. I'd put me on there first. So we get down to the first question, personality types. What type are you? This is a fun little thing. Read these things, look through the things, give some thought as to what type personality you are. And then when you're ready to answer that, you hit the reply button down here in the corner. Once the reply window opens up, the first thing you want to do is to go up here to where it has the RE opening question and change that and put your own name in there so that when somebody else replies to your comment, we'll know who they're replying to. Write your message. You have a number of different tool choices that are up here. This little menu expands and gives you some additional tool choices that you can add to things. So you could put a photograph, you can change the typeface, you can put a link to someplace else, whatever you desire to do. If you want to attach a photograph, there's a window down here, and all you have to do is grab it from your desktop and drop it down on here. Or you can click this little folded down page with the plus button, hit add, and go to files. Now here I've already stored some files, and you can store private files as long as they're not too big on the server, as I have right here, pictures that I want to use someplace else in the site. If you have a Flickr account, you can log into it here. This SCPHOTO is for me. Private, let's see, we can also go to your desktop files. By clicking on that, you can hit the choose button and go to your desktop and pick stuff off of here. So it's a good way of uploading things to the website. Write your comments. When you're all through, you post them to the forum, and we'll all get an opportunity to look at them. So spend some time this first week. I've got a lot of open time for you, so go ahead and spend your time. Come back and comment on some of the other things. And when you're making the comments, make these like you would in a regular classroom. If a student in a classroom raises his hand and goes, and they say what they're going to do you raise your hand and go, wow, that was really brilliant, I really enjoyed that? Probably not. So if you're going to make a comment, make the kind of comment you would make in a classroom if you were talking to the actual student. Next, I want you to get used to making comments about other students and rating other students. So here we go down through the system. Now, right now, the only reply in here is from myself, and so I'm not able to grade myself. But all of the others, you'll notice there will be a rating button, other people. You can click on that rating and give a student a rating from 0 to 4. 0 basically means you didn't put anything at all that had anything to do with what the instructor asked you to do. So what is this? 4 means, hey, great, it's great. 3 is, I liked what you wrote, but it just seems kind of nothing. And sometimes students in these things will put a whole lot of words in, and if you take out all the words that really don't mean much of anything, you end up with nothing. So it's your chance to rate things. People will be rating your comments, and you can reply to each other's comments. It's like a discussion board in some ways. Okay, now back up to the breadcrumbs. You notice we're deep into things now, and so we have a number of breadcrumbs. And I want to go back to the beginning, so I click on Anchor 11. So all you're going to see is one term at a time. As we go through the class, more and more assignments will show up. Each week has material. Check it, because sometimes I add something new during the week. Sometimes students ask questions, and so on. Week by week, make sure that if there's something that you need to do or turn in during the week, that you do it, because this year grading will be done once a week, and it will pertain to you need to, according to Anchor policy, keep yourself up to date. So finally then, we've looked at the thing across the top. We've looked at our menu choices that are available here, where you can jump ahead. Like, let's say you want to know what some of the assignments are. Click on assignment. It'll jump ahead, and it'll show you the ones that are due in this particular quarter. Now we're going to have a lot more discussions and quizzes and other things to do, so you'll notice for the first month there's really only 2 projects that are in here. Right now, because this is in the design stage, I don't have all of the due dates in, but you should have that show up in here when they're due, and they'll show up on your events calendar when they're due too. Once you've submitted it, you'll see it shows up as it is here, submitted for a grade, and once that actually gets graded, you'll see the grade over here on the left hand side. So if you have any questions about the class, be sure to contact me, Keith, at SCPHOTO.com, or you can contact Michelle and she can pass things on through to me. There's also the possibility of going to the beginning of the class and asking questions up here in the class announcements section. You can click on this and add a discussion to this particular area. So I'm looking forward to this new school year, and God bless. Oh, the God bless thing, that's an important part of it. Because this is designed just for Anchor Academy, this particular class, because it's not connected to any of my secular schools or my private schools or anybody else, it's just you guys, has allowed me this year to go through the content, and I'll continue to go through the content and switch it a little bit more towards including some of the great things that our Lord and Savior offers us, because I can say names like Jesus without getting myself into big trouble. So welcome, and I'm looking forward to this school year.